Hi there, and welcome to this week's Melbourne Cup Day edition of Top End Track Talk. I'm Andrew O'Toole, and today we'll be having a look at a massive day of racing, which is Lexus Melbourne Cup Day, to be held at Fanny Bay Racecourse on the first Tuesday in November, which this year falls on the 5th of November. Cup Day is always a highlight on the racing calendar, and while most attention will be fairly and squarely on Flemington, the Territory has two six-race cards, one here in Darwin and the other in the Red Centre. While the fields in Alice Springs continue to remain strong, we're a little light on numbers here in Darwin on Tuesday, but nevertheless the crowd will no doubt be out in force to support the day and there promises to be some exciting contests. With the Melbourne Cup time to go at 1:30 p.m. Northern Territory time, the first in Darwin will kick off just over 20 minutes after that at 1:53, and the first of the six is the Electrical Supply Solutions Handicap. It's a 0 to 76 1300 metre event, and my numbers in the opener are 1, 4, 2 and 5. Going here with the top weight number one, Harmonium Bells, to start the day off on the right note for Gary Clark. I think Gary can train half the card, if not more, on Tuesday. He's got some really good chances, and I'm picking him to start the day on a winning note with number one. Kim Gladwin in the saddle, and she's a last start winner, is Harmonium Bell. She won here on the 5th of October. That was over 1100 metres. Really good performance that day, beating stablemate The Captain, who will race in the feature later in the day. I think she can go on with the job. The 1300 metres actually suits her better, so I've got her on top, number one. Ahead of number four, Let's Celebrate, the stablemate from the Clark stable, and Brendan Davis in the saddle. This mare is also a last start winner. She won here on the 19th of October. She thrives on the 1300 metres. She's drawn four. I think she'll be very hard to beat, and I've got her in to run second. My third selection, number two, the consistent Elisac from the Gary LaFoe Junior stable. Paul Shires in the saddle on Tuesday. She's knocking on the door. He is rather 2 seconds and a third. His last three gets another opportunity here. My fourth selection, number five, Perpetual Bliss. 1, 4, 2 and 5 in the day's opener. The second's the Lexus Experience Amazing Handicap. It's for the 0 to 58 gallopers. It's the Trobus event on the day, and it's over 1300 metres as well. Numbers here 5, 2, 4 and 6. Going here with number 5, Mr Boom Jangles. Now this horse was bought out of the recent Magic Millions Tried Horse sale here in Darwin by clients of the Gary LaFoe Junior stable. Paul Shires takes them out. Just had the one start in Darwin, Mr Boom Jangles, but he was impressive, hitting the line strongly into fourth behind World Force. That was here on the 19th of October. That was 1,000 metres. The step up to the 1,300 metres looks just what he's looking for at this stage, and I think he can break through at his second top end start. 5 on top for me, ahead of number 2, Looking For You. Consistent type, trained by Phil Cole, Jared Todd in the saddle. The 1,300 metres should suit him. He was 6th last time to Let's Celebrate. That was in 0 to 64 grade, drops in grade. That's a key for Looking For You. My third selection is number 4, Trebler, knocking on the door for the Clark stable. Kim Gladwin in the saddle, a second and a third, his last two starts, and in for fourth, number 6, Aggression. 5, 2, 4 and 6 in the second. The third's the feature, the $25,000 Lexus Darwin Wait for Age. The great supporters of racing here in Darwin, Lexus, and produce a pretty good motor car as well. My numbers here, 6, 4, 2 and 5. Going here with the Horse of the Year, The Captain, trained by Gary Clark and Brendan Davis in the saddle. His top grade sprinter is The Captain. He won this race last year, incidentally, and in between times he's won a host of races and was crowned the top end Horse of the Year just recently. He's drawn an inside gate, which I think will suit him. He likes getting his own way in front or getting the fence, and I think number 6, The Captain, will take a power of beating in the feature. 6 on top, ahead of number 4, Smuggling, The Obvious Danger, trained by Phil Cole. Jared Todd aboard. Just had the one start for Phil Has Smuggling, formerly trained, of course, by Stephen Brown and raced well during the carnival here. But Coley took over the horse and only the one start in his stable. 21st of September, came from a long way back, over 1,200 metres, to beat Elisac, and won really well on that occasion. The 1,200 metres again should suit him. I'm really thinking he's probably more of a 1,300 metre horse, but in a fresh state he'll be very hard to beat. In for third, the old boy El Toronado. Carl Spry trains. Felicia Bergson in the saddle. And El Toronado, he's can never be left out of calculations in a race like this. He's run the other day behind So Stoic. Got a long way back, which is unusual for him, but did finish off well. It was probably a bit of a pipe opener for this race on Tuesday. And my fourth selection, and hard to leave him out of calculations, is number 5, So Stoic. Good to see him get up the other day in a close finish with I'm Too Hot. 6, 4, 2 and 5 in the third. The fourth's the 7 Darwin handicap. It's for the 0 to 58 gallopers again, and it's over 1,200 metres. Numbers here 3, 1, 2 and 7. Going here again with the Gary Clark stable, number 3 No Alibi, and Brendan Davis in the saddle. Another out of the recent tried horse sale, No Alibi. It's had the one start in Darwin, really good second behind World Force the other week. Should be improved by that. That was over the sprint trip of 1,000. Out an extra furlong should suit, and I think can get the money on Tuesday. Number 3 on top, ahead of number 1 Restless from the stable of Phil Cole. Broke through for a well-deserved win here last time. Jared Todd aboard for Coley. Wayne Davis rode the other day. In for third, number 2 Bon Air. This one trained by Carl Spry. Felicia Bergstrand in the saddle. Good run the other day here behind Restless, and should be there or thereabouts again. Fourth selection, number 7, the always consistent Liberty's Torch. 3, 1, 2 and 7. We go now to the fifth. It's the Sapelt handicap, the Class 2 event. It's over the 1,100 metres. Only a field of half a dozen here, but my numbers 2, 3, 1 and 6. Frilly designed for me from the Clark stable again. Brendan Davis in the saddle. I've actually got Clarkie down to win 4 on the day, so I hope my judgment's on. He'll be after me if I'm wrong. But Frilly design broke through in maiden grade here impressively on the 19th. On the 5th of October it was. That was 1,100 metres. This is the same trip. Gary hasn't rushed this horse back into action. A month between runs, and won by 7.5 lengths last time out. I think from the one gate will take a power of beating. 2 on top. Ahead of number 3 Awesome Mo for Carl Spry. Kim Gladwin in the saddle. I really liked this horse when it was down to race a couple of meetings ago, but was a late scratching on that occasion. That was to be over 1,000 metres. I think this 1,100 will suit Awesome Mo even better, so I've got to have him in the mix. In for third, number 1, the fresh horse, and that is Levardis. Jared Todd for Phil Cole. Raced really well last campaign. A pretty talented 4-year-old he is now, Levardis, and I think he'll race well fresh. And in for fourth, number 6, Fort Necessity. 2, 3, 1 and 6. And our last goes at 5:10 Northern Territory time on Cup Day, the Harvey Norman handicap. It's over 1,600 metres for the 0 to 64 gallopers. Numbers here 2, 1, 3 and 4. He was impressive 2 starts back, Skeldak, and he just went down last week here by the barest possible margin. Paul Shires goes back on. He won on him 2 starts back. Ray Viger rode the other day, and the 1,600 metres seems to suit this horse, so I think he can get the chocolates as he did 2 starts ago, and as I mentioned, he was very stiff here the other day. In for second, number 1 Rocheville. He's a bit of a specialist over the 1,600 metre trip. He's won 5 times from 12 starts. It really suits him, the trip. Felicia Bergstrand for Carl Spry. In for third, number 3 Evil Dreams. Only had the 1 start at the mile, and that was the other day behind More Chili. Finished 4th, and I think now he's got out to that trip and shown ability, can go well again. My 4th selection, number 4, Look at Him Go. 2, 1, 3 and 4. The best bet of the day comes up in race 5, number 2 Frilly Design. Race 5, number 2 Frilly Design. The way it broke maiden ranks, I think it can go through the grades. This is a Class 2 event, but I think it's clearly the one for me. Well, the best roughie comes up in race 2, number 1 The Auditor. Race 2, number 1 The Auditor. The $50 Garrett's Horse and Hound voucher for our last meeting here in Darwin on Cox Plate Day, the 26th of October, goes to Barry Huppatz for his double, courtesy of Big Wan and So Stoic. Well done, Baz. I know Chris Pollard was disappointed it wasn't the week for the trainers, but hard luck, Chris, and I'm sure Baz will be down to see Batesy at Garrett's Horse and Hound in Winnelly for that $50 voucher any day. In our next Top End Track Talk segment, trainers will be in line for the voucher, and of course that will refer to the Melbourne Cup race day. Well, that wraps up this edition of Top End Track Talk, but we'll be back again in advance of our next meeting in November. That comes up on the 16th. In the meantime, good luck and good punting.